All right, I'm going to go ahead and get rolling here. Got lots and lots of people on. Most I think I've ever seen on in this brief a period of time. So, Pastor Rodney Browne was arrested today in Hillsborough County for having two church services this past Sunday. So let's go over what really happened. And I want you to know that I've done my part in this and I've researched this. So what I tell you is true. You can look it up for yourself. Hey, Susan, glad you're on. So what was he arrested for? He was arrested for having church services. Here's what he was charged with. He was charged with unlawful assembly. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is a sad day for me in a lot of ways because, I was a cop for 25 years, retired in 2017. And it's a sad day for me to say some things that I'm about to say about the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff, Chad Chronister, I believe is how you pronounce his name, Chad Chronister, and his cohort with the state attorney's office. So anyway, Rodney Browne was arrested today for unlawful assembly. And I can tell you from knowing the Florida state statutes the way that I do, that is a bogus charge. Absolutely a bogus charge. And he needs to sue the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, namely Chad Chronister, the sheriff, because he's the one who really did all of this. So anyway, next thing he was arrested for was for violation of public health emergency rules. Hey, Sonny, glad you're on. Erica, glad you're on. So he was arrested for those two things, both of them second-degree misdemeanors, punishable up to 60 days in jail, and I can't remember the fine amount, $50,000 or something like that. So that's what he was arrested for. Sheriff Chad Chronister said that when he saw, I'm reading this off of a news source that I got, that when he saw images from a crowded Sunday service at the church, he was furious. Now, anybody who's been in law enforcement, that's not when you make decisions, is when you're furious, for one thing. So there's mistake number one. Chronister said that Browne violated, now listen, he said that Rodney Browne, in having these church services, violated the president's order. Now, I just watched the president's latest news conference where he was asked by the media, are you going to issue any nationwide curfews or lockdowns? And the answer was no. So he did not violate the president's order. Chad Chronister is a liar. He did not do that. That is a bold-faced lie. And for those that I saw on this, I was watching it on Channel 8 as they were doing their Facebook Live on Channel 8, and there was people putting comments on there, both supporting and against the pastor, and said they should arrest everybody, arrest those that went to the church, everything. Is that really where we're at? Is this really where we're at, and this is where we want to be? I want you to think about that. So Chronister says that Rodney Browne violated the president's order. That is incorrect and completely wrong. And then he said that Rodney Browne, by having these two church services, violated the governor's order, executive order. That is a bold-faced lie. There is no executive order from Governor DeSantis about religious gatherings. There is no such order. I looked into every single coronavirus order that Governor DeSantis has issued, that he's executed, and there is not one order. He has recommended, as the president has recommended, that nobody gather with more than 10 people. That, hey, Chronister, that is not an order. Your trumped up unlawful assembly charge is trumped up and unlawful, and I hope you get sued for it. The only thing that he had any reason to arrest him for was this. They do have a Hillsborough County order. Hillsborough County, not the state of Florida. For all my Foundation Church family, there's no order for the state of Florida. So Hillsborough County has an emergency policy group. Boy, does that sound like a grouping of morons. But anyway, a Hillsborough emergency policy group, and they issued a stay-at-home order. Now, when was it executed? Hey, Greg, glad you're on, brother. Hey, Deborah, glad you're on. When was this executed? 2 days before the church services, March 27th, 2 days. Boy, that's a whole lot. They said they've been in contact with them and all this stuff. So they execute this really what would be a county ordinance, a county order that you're not allowed to assemble more than 10 people at a religious service. They issue it 2 days before the man has his services. 2 days. And then they issue a warrant for Rodney Howard Browne. Listen, I don't agree with everything Rodney Howard Browne says or does. I don't agree with any pastor, everything they say or do. Well, we definitely are like-minded with this. So 2 days before his services, they execute this order, and then when he violates it, they issue a warrant for his arrest. And there's Christians that are watching this, and you think they're right. Oh, well, you know what? It's a public health hazard, and he should be abiding by it. Don't worry, I'm going to show you the numbers in a minute. And you can decide whether you believe facts or your feelings, facts or drama, facts or the Democratic Party and the liberal media hack ideas and their hack propaganda, their hack narrative. But I'm going to show you the facts about this whole virus. I have a whole board written here that I can't show you because I can't fit it on the screen. And I had no time to rehearse. This is completely off the top of my head. So that's what happened. That's what he got arrested for. And I hope he sues the living tar out of Hillsborough County. That sheriff gets up there and he does a press conference with his neatly pressed and skin-tight white shirt on, with the simpleton hack state attorney standing to his right and a minister standing behind him, and comes up and endorses the whole thing. And I just don't get how you Christians don't see the big picture in this. How do you not see it? Well, it's a public health emergency. No, it's not. I'll read you the numbers. Are you ready? Here we go. I'm going to read you the numbers. Coronavirus. Ready? Here they are. Now, this is why we're arresting pastors while people are screeching and putting comments on social media about arrest the whole congregation. Here's why. Coronavirus cases. This is from, now listen now, this isn't from Breitbart. This isn't from my own personal research. This isn't what's coming out of the top of my head, coming off the top of my head. This is from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, .gov. This is from the federal government. Here's the statistics. Are you ready? Coronavirus cases to date in the United States, 140,904. In Florida, 5,473. Here's the deaths. The deaths. DEATHS. The deaths from coronavirus in the United States. You ready? 400,000, 200,000, 100,000, 50,000. No! Here's the deaths. 2,405. How many in Florida? 63. And we're arresting pastors for this? Oh, and the Christians are all, well, it's a public health emergency. He should be obedient. You know, we talked about this in church on Sunday about Romans 13 and how the Christians are hiding behind Romans 13, 1 through 7 about obeying the authorities. I hate to tell you, Jesus was arrested, Paul was arrested, Peter was arrested, John was arrested, John the Baptist was arrested, Stephen was arrested, Joseph in the Old Testament was arrested. Stop hiding behind that. That's for normal people to observe and obey normal laws. These are not normal laws. This thing that they ordered, I'm trying to get the name of it again, stay-at-home order in Hillsborough County. It is so long, I couldn't read the whole thing. I pulled it up, I read the whole thing. They stipulate every last thing you can do. You're allowed out. It says, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You're allowed to walk. This is in there. You're allowed to go out and walk your dog as long as you stay at a proper distance from everybody else. They're going to haul you off too then? The man only had 2 days to even adjust to this. It's a mega church. It has thousands of people. And they come and issue a warrant for him? And you Christians, judgment begins with the house of the Lord. You Christians listen, I'm going to tell you something. You Christians that support this, you are going to be the first to take the mark. You won't even hesitate. Walmart closes, you are taking the mark of the beast. There's not a doubt in my mind for those of you who are quarantining yourselves at home, scared to death, not binding, not loosing, nothing shall by any means hurt you. That's just Matthew 16:19, Luke chapter 10, verse 19, who don't obey the word of God, scared and huddled in your homes, and are glad that this guy got arrested. Have you lost your minds? Why are you, there's 2,405 deaths nationwide to date. And a pastor's being arrested for a public health concern? 63 total in the state of Florida. And we're arresting this man? Listen, he was conducting these services a long time ago. Where's the big outbreak in Hillsborough County? Where is it? Where is it? Where are the bodies? This is supposed to be such a big deal. Where are the bodies? By the way, that 2,405 includes 385 people, not 385,000, 385 people that died in New York. So that includes the epicenter of all that is frightening everybody right now is New York City. That includes that. It includes the 63 from Florida. So let's look at the flu. And by the way, just a little sidebar, little side note. How many babies are killed a week in the United States? Nobody cares about the Christian. Huddled at home, self-quarantining, enjoying self-quarantine day whatever, putzing around, sending out your Facebook memes, doing nothing. How many babies are killed every week in the United States in the womb? 16,000+. And how many deaths from the coronavirus so far? Total, in 3 months, 2,000. And this is what we lock pastors up for? Christians, this is what you give in for? This is what you give in for. This is what you give all your rights away for. Americans, this is what you give all your rights away for? Man, they're going to take your guns with ease. With ease. Oh, Tom, it's a public health thing. It's a virus. Well, what do you think they're going to tell you something you won't believe next time? Man, if you're so simple that you believe this and you don't see the big picture, you're such a simpleton that you just lock yourself in your home and don't think twice about it. You're going to be such a victim. You Christian, you're going to take the mark before anybody. You'll take it before somebody who's not saved. So what's the flu stat? So here we go. Corona deaths, corona cases, 140,000, right? This is this year. By the way, all CDC stats. You can pull them up yourself. CDC.com. Check everything I'm saying. Those of you who put goofball, stupid, ignorant statements on my Facebook Live about how I'm a religious idiot and everything else, why don't you show some facts instead of giving the typical progressive, liberal, feelings-based rant based on no facts? Go to the CDC website and check every last thing I'm saying. Please do. And for Christians, please go to the Bible. And why don't you go and challenge me with the Word of God, not your feelings, not what President Trump has told you, not what DeSantis has told you. Why are you not obeying what the Word of God has told you, that nothing shall by any means hurt you? Luke chapter 10, verse 19, you were given all power and all authority. Luke chapter 9, verses 1 and 2. And yet you're scared of a virus. Do you know what the stats are on that, by the way? So you got 140,000 cases, 2,000 deaths. That's where we are in the United States right now. What's the death rate? See that? 1%. And by the way, that's on reported cases. How many of you have gotten the flu in your life and not reported it? So what we could honestly say is that there's hundreds of thousands of more cases that people have gotten, that they got and recovered, correct? So that death rate of 1% would careen down into the absolute minuscule. Because in all actuality, if you have 140,000 cases and 2,000 deaths, that equals 1% exactly. Please do the calculus. Don't give me your feelings. Don't give me what an idiot I am. Go ahead if you want. I know I can't stop it. But why don't you, instead of assuming somebody's an idiot, why don't you actually do the calculus yourself? Christians huddled at home, scared to death, self-quarantining, being an obedient little puppy. Do the calculus and then read the Bible. That should be what you draw from. Not your feelings, not President Trump, not Ron DeSantis, the Bible and the facts. So that's a 1% death rate, 140,000 cases in the United States, 2,000 have died. That's 1% are dying. In all actuality, it'd be like this. If you wanted to know how many soldiers died in a battle, and you said, okay, well, we sent 100,000 in, 10,000 died, that means 1% of them died. But then you find out, whoops, there was 1 million soldiers sent in, and 10,000 died. How many is that then? See, then it's 1%. It goes down and down and down with the more cases. The death toll will slightly rise, but the case total is going to, the total cases will go through the roof. But there's only, at the highest it could be is 1%. And you're really going to shut down, listen, there's been 3.3 million unemployment claims last week alone. That is an all-time record for a week. You know what the previous record was? 1980, 678,000 in a week. And we beat that by almost 4 times the original record. We have 330 million people live in this country. 2,000 have died from this virus. And we shut it all down for that? Christians, you are cowards. Americans, what's the matter with you? What is the matter with you? 2,000? Tom, that's no respect. You have how could you tell that to the families of the dead? Well, you talk to the babies that you kill every week then, superior one. 1.2 million babies are aborted every year. That's not a death? I believe a heart was beating. You go talk to that dead person then. And 1.2 million a year in the United States certainly dwarfs 2,000. If you don't know that, which I wouldn't be surprised by what I'm looking at, that people don't know that. So what are the flu stats every year? I'll give you the flu. No, we'll do the flu stats for this year. Ready? Corona cases, 140,904. Flu cases, 38 to 54 million. Tom, that can't be. CDC, check it yourself. Go right now. Get on there. Type it. Get in there. CDC.gov. Look it up yourself. No, you're a religious whack job. Look it up yourself. 38 to 54 million cases. How many people died? How many people have died of the flu this year in the United States? Corona deaths are 2,404. Of the flu, it's 24 to 62,000. And this is what you want to crash the economy for. You didn't crash it for the flu. You didn't self-quarantine for the flu. You didn't pass the ridiculous, stupid Hillsborough County. Please don't call me.
Call ended.
Whoever that is, don't call me again. I won't say the name. I know who it is. Don't call me. So here's the thing. You didn't crash it. You didn't crash the economy for that. You didn't lock yourself at home for that. But here you are, Christian, cowering in the corner. 24 to 62,000 people this year have died of the flu in the United States in comparison to coronavirus, which is 2,400. Do you not see that this is the biggest scam that has ever been perpetrated on America? Tom, you tell that to the dead. There are legitimate dead people. Yeah, you know what? There's 24 to 62,000 flu victims that are dead also. Why do you not have any respect for them? You didn't quarantine for them. You didn't cause 3.3 million jobless applications for them. You didn't shut down the economy for them. You have no respect for the dead. You don't care about the 1.2 million abortions that happen every year. We're going to lock up pastors for 2,400? Have you lost your ever-loving minds? Wake up! Wake up! You know how many people died of the flu? It's a world record in 2017. CDC, check it yourself. How many people died of the flu in America in 2000? These are all in America stats. The 24 to 62,000 people that died of the flu, that's this year. That's this year alone. How many people died of the flu in America in 2017? 80,000. Where was your self-quarantines? Where was your agenda? Why weren't you locking up pastors for that? I was having services then. Rodney Howard Browne was having services then. What about that Sheriff Chronister? Where's your self-righteous garbage then? You're Chronister, you are a bold-faced abomination liar. You're an abomination to law enforcement. Trumped up, worthless charges. And you'll see, you'll answer for that before the eyes of God. You do not trifle with God's anointed. You better watch yourself on the day of judgment. Yeah, you may be able to trot out some fool pastor that will come out and support you and your simpleton, worthless SAO that stands right behind you and backs you up for your trumped up, worthless charges. But on the day of judgment, you will answer, Chronister, for what you've done. Let's go on. Worldwide, I'm watching my time. Worldwide corona stats right now. Ready? This is what's going on right now. Again, look it up yourself. Right now, there is currently here's aren't the current cases. This is what's happened so far. Total cases. Worldwide, 779,596. Deaths, total deaths, worldwide from the coronavirus. Ready? 1 million? 2 million? Apocalyptic. 37,538. How many people died of the flu? This is worldwide. How many people died of the flu in the United States this year alone? 50,000. Whoops. Whoops. And you've been staying at home for 3 weeks, scared to go to church? Whoops. Tom, I just refuse. Listen, if you refuse to believe, this is all proven statistical data. If you refuse this, you're beyond hope. You just are beyond reason. Well, this is what the government tells me to do. Yeah, the government will eventually tell you to take the mark of the beast. The government was in charge of concentration camps. There was a reporter today. Go ahead and look it up, Fox News, rewind the live feed. There was a reporter that asked President Trump today about putting GPS trackers on all people so that they can maintenance our social distance. And these are the people you're following, by the way. Trump's going along with it. Listen, I've lost a lot of respect for Trump. He's going along with it. He's buying into it, shutting down the economy, shutting everything down. I've lost a lot of respect for him. I've lost a lot of respect to him because of the stimulus package. All you Christians, what you need to do that are staying at home and self-quarantining, what you need to do is actually follow the Bible. If you believe this is a crisis, then why aren't you out there praying over the sick? Why aren't you out there giving them all of your money? Because you're the one who crashed the economy. You bought in, crashed the economy. 3.3 million people put in jobless claims. You ought to go out there and give them all your money. Why aren't you doing it? Well, I'm a real solid Christian. I'm self-quarantining and doing cardboard cutouts with my kids every day. Coward. Current cases. Worldwide, here's the current cases. Already gone down. Total cases was 779. 779,000 was the total cases that's ever happened to coronavirus worldwide. Where are we at now? 547,960 cases. That's our current cases. Actually, our current cases are roughly in that same ballpark, 700,000. So here's the breakdown of our current cases. You ready? Current cases, there's of the 700,000, it's not even 700,000. It is, I'm adding it up here. It's about 575,000 cases is what we have now. All right? That's where we're at. Down from 779, we're at 575,000 cases worldwide right now of the coronavirus. You don't believe me? Please look up the stats. Of those 575,000 current cases, 547,960 of them are considered mild. That's 95% of current cases are considered mild worldwide. Why don't you believe that? Where are all the bodies here in Charlotte County, Sarasota County, with goofy Sheriff Chronister up in Hillsborough County? Do you ever ask yourself that? Where are the bodies? There aren't any. There's 2,400 have died in America alone, dwarfed by the flu. Dwarfed by the flu. The flu has killed 30 times that many this year. What's the matter with you? Wake up. So 95% of current cases worldwide of the coronavirus are considered mild. 5% are considered critical, serious to critical. 5%. Finish him with this. CDC yearly worldwide flu stats. You ready? This is worldwide. How many people die of the flu every year? 291,000 to 646,000 people die of the flu every year worldwide. Why aren't you locking up pastors for that? Why aren't you self-quarantining? Why are you afraid to come to church? Why didn't you wash your hands 47 times a day? Why didn't you social distance? Why didn't you crash the economy? If your criteria to crash the United States economy and be a scared little boy or girl is 2,400 deaths for the year, then why on earth, when you have a worldwide flu death total of 291,000 to 646,000 deaths, why aren't you crashing the economy every year? Do you ever think about those things? Do you think about those things logically? Or do you just lurch on to the bandwagon of ridiculously stupid fear that people put out for you? Christians, if you buy into this, you're going to buy into anything that the devil or this government or anybody else puts out for you. You'll be the first one to take the mark. You'll be the first one to give up your guns. Last thing I'll tell you, H1N1 virus. These are the stats from the CDC. United States deaths. Actually, I don't know which site I got that off of, so I can't remember what site that was. So it wasn't the CDC. The stats are pretty much consistent wherever you go. H1N1 virus, the swine flu from 2009, 2010. It ran from May 2009 to January of 2010. United States deaths, 18,300. We have a total death from coronavirus of 2,405 as of today. Worldwide swine flu deaths, 203,000 on the money. What's the worldwide deaths from coronavirus? Finishing with this, pay attention. 2010, worldwide swine flu deaths, 203,000. What do we have for worldwide corona deaths to date? 37,000. The swine flu didn't meet your economy crashing criteria? Didn't meet your social distancing criteria? Your quarantine, your arresting of pastors criteria? The world has lost its mind, church. I'm telling you that right now. The world has lost its mind. Fool believes anything. Fool will believe anything. Sadly, a lot of Christians are acting foolishly. You may not like my delivery. You may not like me personally. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of insults on this. But why don't you go and check the stats? And you know what? If you do, I'll see you on Sunday. God bless you. Have a good night.